today I'm going to get apart this transmission stuff, or at least start on some of it.
See, here, right now, so
Alright, so let's set these aside and let them soak. Can't find it in the diagram. I downloaded the manuals and I went through and highlighted everything I'm going to replace, which is pretty much clutches and all the seals. Can't find it in the diagram. Alright, we're out here. It's the next day. I got on the goggler last night and did the little hand dancing and figured out I got the service manual, and the service manual for this damn tractor is pretty fucking insane. I think it's like 400 and something pages, pretty descriptive. Let me bring it over here. So I was getting on the service manual. Bring it all closer. I was getting on the service manual to figure out this fucking seal. It didn't come out of it when I pulled it apart. It shows it on a parts list. And so I want to go through the service manual and see if I can find it. I did not find it on the service manual anywhere. So I'm probably going to leave this out because this tractor ran for 10, 15, 20 years before needing major repairs. So I'm going to assume that I don't know what it is, why it was in the parts breakout, but at the same token there was some other stuff that wasn't in the parts breakout that I found that I just found last night too. Another important thing I found that I did not know about, which is why I'm glad I found the manual, was these clutches, these clutch plates. These clutch plates, you can't see it because it's so slight, are dished. Excuse me. Which means when you set it on a flat table, which this table's more or less flat, and the manual says if it's under 15 thousandths, it's trash. But the window is from 15 thousandths to 20 thousandths is what a new clutch plate looks like. So and I didn't know that. I'm glad I found it because I just threw them in there. I thought they were flat because 15 thousandths you can't really fucking see. So here's 15 thousandths, and I've got this down, and it slides under there decently. So I have to take this stack out of here because the manual says that all of the plates are supposed to face, the dishes are supposed to face how'd they word it? They said dish up, I believe is what it said, which means it sits like this. And then I left this more or less the same way it came out, which would be like this. So it means the dishes, and I kind of see it now, I'm looking for it. The dishes go up like this, away from both sides. So you'd have like your reverse set going this way and your forward set dish that way. So I'm gonna take that out, I'm gonna fix that. I didn't know that, so I'm really glad I found that in the manual because I guarantee you I didn't accidentally do that right. I also found they make a complete rebuild kit for this transmission, which kind of pisses me off. It's everything but the plates and the clutches. It's all the seals, gaskets, everything that I thought I bought. It has these. It has the small ones that I couldn't find. I was able to find on that parts on that list. The little ones I can order them separately, but when you order it together like a kit like that, it was probably $150 cheaper. So I'm kind of fucked. I spent more money because I didn't know what I didn't find that rebuild parts. So I've got those 3 seals here I got to order. I've got the 2 on the other side that I've got to order, and 1 O-ring. And I'm gonna go through the other side today. I'm gonna put this together. I'm gonna set it aside. I'm gonna go through the other side today, and I'm gonna make sure there's no seals or gaskets I'm missing. So when I place the order, I've got everything. So I'll let y'all, put y'all out the way, let y'all watch. Also, these clutch plates, I believe, are fine. I think these clutches are fine. I think someone's been in this transmission before. And so I think my problem is the screen was plugging off and it was starving the pump, or that the switching block on top had something wrong with it or gasket blown. But we're here, we're gonna do this. So, problem. Come on, camera. So these are not dished. I don't know if that's good or bad, but this is the only thing they offered for this model was these plates. These are the replacement for that part number. So I don't quite know what the best solution is here. I think I'm just gonna put them together and see if it runs. I hate to do that, but I don't know if they changed, why they changed them, but these are not dished, and I've tried a couple of them. So I'm going to, when I call the parts place Monday to place the order, I'm going to ask about those. They may have changed it, figured out it doesn't matter. I don't know. But that is the replacement part. I did several searches. There was none of the older part number. They changed that part number, and that's the only thing I could find. So those are probably in good enough shape. I could probably go ahead and throw those back in there if I wanted to or was worried about it. I'm definitely going to save them and put them on the shelf in case this doesn't work. I'd obviously like to have the brand new ones in there because they're brand fucking new. So anyways, so I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to get, I was going to do something with that. I'll remember when I open it up. And then I'm going to start cleaning that assembly and try to rebuild that assembly today so I can make sure I have all the parts I need. Alright, y'all. I went and picked this up from a buddy of mine. He's actually moving / building a new shop house. So he won't be using this for probably 6 months minimum to most likely a year and a half, 2 years. So I said, hey, let me come get it. I'll use it. It'll benefit me. You don't have to move it. You don't have to store it somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. He said, sure. So I went and picked it up from him. Today I finished cleaning it out. It had about 2 inches of sludge or oil or grease, whatever the fuck was in the bottom. So I dumped it on the fire pit. Power washed it out real good, got it real clean. Went and picked up some of this shit from Tractor Supply. This is supposed to be pretty good shit, and the fucking price tag on it better be some good shit. I also picked up one of these. This is meant for transfer tank, like in the back of a pickup truck, but I mean it works pretty good for this, and this is essentially fuel, so it should be just fine. So yeah, I got it cleaned out, got the new parts cleaner fluid in there. I got a filter on it because it doesn't have the stock setup. It doesn't have a filter. It just has these screens, which, you know, which are good, and it helps keep you from losing your parts, you know, if you drop your parts in there. But that filter is going to help keep it a lot cleaner and keep your fluid a lot better. So I mean, this is, don't get much cleaner than that. It looks like fucking water. So it smells like kerosene, which is probably what I paid $100 for 10 gallons worth of kerosene, excuse me. So this will help me a lot on the backhoe project, cleaning off the parts and getting them all good to go. So I gotta find another place in the barn to store this. So I've been wanting a good parts washer for quite a while, so I keep my eye out on Craigslist and Facebook all the time, see if I can find an affordable one. But they're just kind of expensive, and the cheap ones are normally pieces of shit. So alright, well, I'm gonna go back to cleaning these parts up. Let's see if I can find a place to put y'all. Today we're gonna clean this housing assembly, whatever the fuck they call it, pump housing, I think is what they call it. And then I'm gonna soak this. I picked up, let me see, spent way too much money at Tractor Supply the other day. I'm gonna soak it in the Evaporust. I heard this shit works pretty good. I've used it once a long time ago, but my biggest concern is, basically, I think what killed this transmission looks fine. Everything in it looks fine. I mean, obviously the seals are dead from being a million years old or whatever, but it ran great when we parked it. And so I think what happened is from sitting for years, it developed rust. The rust kind of built up, and then when we finally got it running again, it just shot that rust through the system and clogged stuff. I'm pretty sure it burned out the pump. Like, I'm pretty sure the pump's no good anymore. I mean, it doesn't matter if it is or it isn't, I'm replacing it. Same with the torque converter. I'm taking it to a shop, they're rebuilding it. They're gonna make sure it's perfect. And then we're gonna go from there. So, but I wanna make sure, this has got a lot of little passages. I wanna make sure the Evaporust gets in there and eats all the rust. And I didn't wanna use something too abrasive or too corrosive, because, you know, you got tolerances in here. I don't need it eating away metal like vinegar, and vinegar would probably be fine, but I don't need to take the chance of it eating metal or weakening metal. Definitely not sulfuric acid. It's way too strong for this, and I think it will destroy. I think that's a bronze bushing in there. It's kind of silver, it may not be. And the Evaporust supposedly will get all the rust and completely dissolve it. I've not had good luck with vinegar completely dissolving rust. It normally just kind of gets the surface rust. So, anyways, let me find a place to put y'all, and you can watch me do boring shit. That was way easier than using a fucking container with gas in it. Well, I am pretty sure that is kerosene that I'm using, but whatever. We'll pretend like it's super duper parts cleaner and makes me feel a little better, I guess. It's almost like this was meant to go in here. Alright, that's better. This cleaned up really nice. Everything that was under the solution cleaned up really good. The rag trick, like, I'm actually gonna throw this back up under there because it didn't get it very good. It doesn't need to be very long, probably 30-40 minutes while I assemble most of this. There we go. But you can see, I mean, it was fairly rusted. Nothing terrible, but just enough to notice. And it cleaned it up good. I didn't get this because it didn't stay under the water. So I may soak that for a little bit too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in for a little while. Let that soak. Okay. As you can see, I'm pretty impressed with this solution for 22 bucks. I mean, these were all spot welded, surface welded, fairly decent, or welded, rusted, and it took it right off. Left a real nice shine. So, like I said, I'll put all this back together, grease it real good so it doesn't flash rust, and move on. I'm gonna leave that for a few more hours. I want to get it a little cleaner. That's what I like about doing these projects myself is I can go through it with more of a fine-tooth comb than you would normally see like a mechanic do it. Plus, it saves me. I would estimate this to be a $5,000 to $10,000 job. Maybe $2,500. I know I have $1,000 in parts in it as it sits, and I still got another $300 put in the torque converter. So I would guess anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 to do this job, depending on how well they cleaned it and what depth they went into it. And most of them aren't going to clean it this way. Most of them are not going to derust it like this. It's not because they're bad mechanics or anything. It's just no customer is going to want to pay another $5,000 for someone to go through with this detail. Their goal is, as long as it makes it 6 months, a year, 2 years, they did their job. You know, it's no longer their fault if it fails. never seen this before. But it looks like they painted the O-ring. I thought they were Viton. I think they said they were Viton. And they painted them. Or maybe it's some special coating, but I'm pretty sure they painted regular ass gaskets and sold them as Viton. I've never seen that before. I can't remember if these came from Messiques or Cross Creek Tractor, but I'm never going to ask them about that because that's kind of fucked up. If they think they can get away with selling it as Viton like that. Alright, I'm back. Had to run to the store because apparently my ass lost my gasket maker. I'll run this stuff right here. I'm not sponsored by this. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't get tips or product or not a damn thing. Everything I buy is mine and my money. But I've been using this for a while to seal up motors, paper gasket, quart gaskets. I know you don't really have to use them on quart gaskets, but I really like sealing them up because I'm pretty much, that stuff guarantees I'm not going to leak. I've never had any failures with it, and it's pretty much like a glue, so it works real good, and I'm real happy with it. The only negative side is it is like a glue. So once you put it on there, it dries, it's done. If you have to take it apart, you have to buy a new gasket. That's all there is to it. So that sucks, but at least it's not going to leak, which is what we're shooting for.
You can't buy that until it doesn't. But no, I just want to make sure. As a service manual, which came with the machine, so I just want to make sure I change the gear. Also, another question I ordered you guys. Should I go? Yeah, this one I ordered. Good background, thank you.
All right, that deals with the, I guess they call it pump assembly or an oil pickup. I replaced these. I had some. A couple of these threads didn't look the greatest. I'm sure they would have been fine, but you got some, you might as well throw them in. And they had two different lengths in here, and I don't know why, because they all were the same length. So I went and put the same length ones in there, and the manual even specs them as the same bolts. So I don't know, someone's been in here before. The neighbor didn't have them, or said fuck it. It probably doesn't hurt anything, but whatever. Alright, so I was wrong, but let me show you what's going on. This is what happens when tractors are fucking jillion years old. So this is the pump that came off of it. This is the long bolt, and this is the shorter bolts. The short bolts in the front, long bolts in the back. So let me put this shorter bolt, and granted it's a 1/4 inch shorter, in here, and you can see there's an obvious difference in height. You can see holding one, well, my fat fingers are on. That wasn't the case here in this other pump. And what happened is if you look where the long bolts go right here, you can see how deeply they machined that pedestal. And then you come over here, this is the same exact spot where that long bolt is. It's almost double the depth. So what they did is on the newer iterations, I guess, they machined them all the same level, which is why when I put the long ones in here, they bottomed out before I got to the washer. So these are all the same length, and I guess that's what happened. So I may have been wrong. Someone may not have been in here. This may have just been a newer iteration. They found out they can machine it down and cut hair and run all the same fasteners. So, and then this squeezed out. I torqued this. The manual says 17 foot-pounds, so that's what I torqued it to. Cork gasket up here, paper on the bottom, and it squeezed out quite a bit. I'm not terribly happy about that, but if this the other one, let's go back. The other one was squeezed out a lot too, so I'm thinking it's fine. But if it fails, I can pull this tank, the steering cover, and get to it fairly easy. I don't have to pull the tractor in half. So if I have a problem, I can get to it in a couple hours. It won't be fun, but it'll be what it'll be. So, all right, we'll bring you back when I've got something else.